Hello, my name is Susan Patterson, and I am doing this project for EDU587 at Georgetown College. It is called Communicating with Spanish-Speaking Immigrants, and it also pertains information about culturally responsive teaching. My project analyzes the Hispanic culture through an in-depth study of an immigrant family from a small town near Guadalajara, Mexico. The town is Amacuzac, and the project includes an interview with this family of 5 that moved to the U.S. from Mexico last year. This project aims to do a cultural study of the family from Mexico. I'll also be looking at the culture of the country and how the family observes their heritage and culture here in the United States, as well as when they were in Mexico. The project will also offer recommendations for teachers about how to increase involvement in school functions, classrooms, and participation from immigrant families in the school community, as well as ideas for culturally responsive teaching in the classroom. Mexico features a diverse geography. Mexico is the third largest country in Latin America, and it is in southern North America. Mexico encompasses extreme wealth and extreme poverty. There are a small portion of middle class in between the wealthy and the poverty. Mexico is one of the largest economic and political forces in Latin America, despite many challenges the country faces. Mexico shares a common border with the United States and is also bordered by the Pacific Ocean to the south and by the Gulf of Mexico on its east side. Guadalajara is located in west central Mexico. Guadalajara is the capital and largest city of the Mexican state of Jalisco. The city is in the central area of Jalisco and the West Pacific area of Mexico. The city of Amacuzac is located about 6 hours east of Guadalajara, Mexico, and this is where my family that I interviewed lived before they moved to the United States. Guadalajara is rich in Mexican culture. The area has become famous for its tequila, which is manufactured locally, mariachi music, sombreros, and rodeos, and a Mexican hat dance. Mexico has a federal republic government similar to the United States of America. A federal republic is a federation of independent states with a representative form of national government. Mexico's form of currency is the peso, and its official language is Spanish. However, other languages are used in Mexico, such as Latin American Spanish and English. Catholicism is the most dominant religion in the country. About 83% of the population as of 2010 were practicing Catholicism in Mexico. More recently, though, the number of Catholics has been declining due to the growth of other Christian denominations. The other Christian denominations are various Protestant churches and Mormonism, which now consists of almost 10% of the population. More recently, the number of Catholics has been declining due to the growth of the other denominations. So many people have choice. They do have freedom of choice of religion in Mexico. Several different languages are spoken in Mexico, with a large majority of the population being fluent in Spanish, while some indigenous Mexicans are monolingual in indigenous languages. Today, Mexicans mostly speak Spanish and learn English as a second language. As many as 100 Native American languages are still spoken in Mexico, however, no single alternative language exists. 80% of those Mexicans who speak an indigenous language also speak Spanish. The history of Mexico is that it is rich in tradition and culture. Mexico is made up of 31 states and 1 federal district. It is the third largest country in Latin America and has one of the largest populations with more than 100 million people, making it the home of more people who speak Spanish than any other country in the world. Evidence of past cultures and events are apparent everywhere in Mexico. Many of Mexico's rural areas are still inhabited by indigenous people whose lifestyles are quite similar to those of their ancestors. Before the arrival of the Europeans, the indigenous population was highly populated in central, west, and southern highland regions of Mexico. The Spanish settlement existing in indigenous communities in order to use their labor in agriculture and mining. Mining and agriculture have made these areas highly populated, and these areas have remained the most densely populated throughout Mexico's history. In other areas of Mexico, more isolated settlements were centered around mines, mission sites, and military camps. Mining was the biggest cause for population redistribution. Silver mining towns such as Durango were founded in the late 16th century and represented the first European settlements outside the central core. It was not until the mid 19th century that large scale ranching was introduced in northern Mexico. Nearly four-fifths of Mexicans now live in cities. This is compared to about half of the population in 1960 that lived in cities. By the early 21st century, over 100 cities had populations in excess of 100,000 people. Another 2 dozen cities had more than 500,000 people. The major cities in Mexico include Mexico City and Guadalajara. Holidays and celebrations. The Hispanic culture has many lively celebrations and holidays. One very popular holiday is Cinco de Mayo. Cinco de Mayo is a holiday that celebrates the date of the Mexican Army's victory over France at the Battle of Pueblo in 1862 during the Franco-Mexican War. It is held on the 5th day of May. Traditions include military parades, recreations of the Battle of Pueblo, and other festive events. The Day of the Dead is a Mexican holiday celebrated throughout Mexico also. The multi-day holiday focuses on gatherings of family and friends to celebrate and remember friends and family members who have died. It is said that the celebration helps support their spiritual journey to eternity. Plans for the celebration are made throughout the year, including gathering the goods to be offered to the dead. During the 3-day period, families usually clean and decorate graves. Many plan face paintings and costumes. As with many other traditions in Mexico, this is a festive event with music and food for the celebration. Many family members visit the cemeteries where their loved ones are buried and decorate their graves with altars and things like Mexican marigold flowers, candles, pictures, and mementos.